Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. How are you doing, you beautiful, beautiful people, my fellow gamers? I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. Today we're gonna react to Force Gaming. Dragon's Dogma 2 looks incredible, and it does. And we're looking forward to it, and we want to see more of it. So let's react to it. Come on.
Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back. So just a few weeks ago, IGN spoke with Dragon Dogma creator Hideaki Itsuno in this massive, several pages long written interview. And surprisingly, I've not seen much coverage of this anywhere, which is absolutely crazy to me because they covered all sorts of really interesting stuff, diving into what he believes is special about the franchise, the lessons learned from the original game, and their overall vision for the sequel, Dragon's Dogma 2. So today, what I want to do is go over some of the highlights and stuff that I found most interesting from this behemoth of an interview. So let's jump right into it. So they started out with IGN asking Itsuno what kind of game Dragon's Dogma 2 is. His response was, "We wanted to make this an action-packed experience that takes place in an open world. It's an action RPG, an open world game, and a game with action combat. Much faster paced with all sorts of crazy movement and these over attack combos and attacks and huge animations, whereas Dragon's Dogma, both 1 and this upcoming sequel, is much more methodical, rooted, and seems to line up closely with another Capcom franchise this little series of games you may have heard of called Monster Hunter." Yes, that's the most obvious comparison, at least at a glance, but that is also besides the point, as he was simply saying that it's the Devil. Itsuno himself, if you didn't know, was a lead developer for Devil May Cry, where he used his prior knowledge from working on fighting games to help develop Devil May Cry's combat. Where he used his prior knowledge from working on fighting games to help develop Devil May Cry's combat. And then Dragon's Dogma 2 is, Itsuno said, what's most notable of all is that it's a single-player online party action game. Even though you play it on your own, you can experience the enjoyment of getting to play as a group. To be more specific, there are characters known as pawns or followers that accompany your characters to form a 4-player party. Now, as mentioned in prior videos on this game, the pawn system is one of the more interesting things about the Dragon's Dogma franchise. They are so much more than just AI companions. They learn and grow as they adventure and fight alongside you, and then use that knowledge in future endeavors, being able to actually help guide you, help solve puzzles and find objectives or locate enemy weak points. Outside of you having your own personally created pawn, you recruit those 2 other pawns from other players and then are able to make use of whatever knowledge they acquired when adventuring with whoever made them for.
This looks like Lord of the Rings combined with Elden Ring, combined with like Monster Hunter combined with Elder Scrolls a bit. I don't know. It looks so good.
Are the obstacles that you are facing against. It is, I will continue and forever probably gush about this system. It's one of the best iterations of like AI companions I've ever seen in an RPG. Now, the next question had IGN asking about, the original game. It was so ambitious. What in particular were they proud of? Here he talked about how falling in love with online multiplayer games in the early 2000s, he really enjoyed them, but hated one particular thing about them, which was dealing with other players. The direct quote here, "I started thinking about making this game around 2001 or 2002. Online games weren't played on connections that were nearly as fast as today's back then, but I still revered them. I had a chance to play some myself, and they were like the worlds I'd always dreamed of, but at the same time, I found them surprisingly annoying. These were games you could be able to play at a specific time, wouldn't type."
So he's saying like, I played the online games that I had to play with other players. Now I took the other players and put them like in an AI system where I can play solo in the Dragon's Dogma 2, and those are the pawns, I can play by myself and feel as if I'm playing with others, which is pretty cool. That's nothing to do with the. That's pretty cool.
In chat. Because of all of that, I find myself wanting to play online games while hoping to avoid these kinds of annoying experiences and not having to be so considerate of others. And much of what he's saying here will be familiar to anyone who grew up or still today plays MMOs, games with these massive worlds to explore and tons of other players running around. While those players are a big part of the experience and what I love about the genre, they're also a part of what can make it a total hassle. The time it takes to form a party to take on group content, waiting for everyone in that group to get to the dungeon, having one or multiple of those people then go AFK at some point while inside the dungeon, or maybe halfway through the run, having one person interchange
like
then getting to spell
a
power cloth
multiplayer
caster
game
to me,
and a
like
single player game.
clear a cave of goblins, track down a griffin, whatever it is you do, pawns gain that knowledge on how to more effectively do that thing. They also gain knowledge on all of the quests that you do, NPC
Pawns, and more pawns.
or that the player felt like they were just wandering through your destination while being unsure of how to get there. Adventure of those worlds. For me, a game but this has been done successfully with many games, with a caveat though that it has to be done well when the game is deciding who to attack for you, right? Like removing manual control is something that can feel very jarring when it's done poorly. Typically, I will prefer that games are either 100% player controlled directional attacks like the Souls series, or manual locking. If you have that in your game, I want to once again be able to swap as I please. But having a game that is mostly free control with some attack assisting, that is certainly a valid option so long as it's done well. Like I said, I thought combat felt great in the original, so I can only hope that they have just further refined it here in the sequel. And then he went on to say, as far as the dodging, it is fun to have in battles. Dodge is great if you can do it, but I think it is a very difficult maneuver, so ideally I want to avoid making a game that requires the ability to dodge if you want to have fun. So they've basically, from what I can tell here, looked to design combat encounters where you can dodge with some vocations, but it isn't absolutely required. There will be certain characters that you can play as that do have the ability to dash or dodge, but others that don't. And Itsuno talked about this as well, mentioning that vocations that can't dodge, and if you're not super committed, as long as you lean on them, I hope you give it a try. And hey, I'm right there with you. Itsuno cheerleading on.
Thank you so much, Force Gaming, for this awesome content. Dragon's Dogma 2 does look incredible, and we've seen a little bit more footage than we've seen so far. Let me know in the comments below if you've played Dragon's Dogma 1 and if you're looking forward to Dragon's Dogma 2. Like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want more of this content, and let me know what you think we should react to next or play. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.